Welcome to Ulyanovsk. What's up guys, and welcome to another video. Today I'm in the city of Ulyanovsk. Ulyanovsk is a big city of over 600,000 people and lies on the river Volga. Formerly known as Simbirsk, Ulyanovsk is probably known best for being the birthplace of Vladimir Ulyanov. You might know him as Lenin. He had this city named after him just like Leningrad, but this one for his real surname, Ulyanov. Ulyanovsk is the 20th biggest city in Russia, and during the Soviet Union it was an important tourist center, drawing visitors from all around the country because of its revolutionary importance. Because of Lenin, many of the city sites are linked to him, so I'm sure we'll see a lot of him today. So let's get exploring. We begin today's video, like always in every city, here in Lenin Square next to Lenin Street. The main statue in this square is of course Lenin himself, and he is standing opposite the government building. However, we're in Ulyanovsk. This is a whole city dedicated to Lenin, so let's not waste too much time in this square and let's see what's different about this city. This is the Lenin Memorial. As you can see, it's undergoing reconstruction at the moment. This used to be a street called Streltsy, and this is where Lenin himself was born. The house where he was born is actually right in the middle of this museum memorial complex here, and the museum was actually built around the house itself. The memorial was built for the 100th anniversary of the birth of Vladimir Lenin, and the Lenin Memorial is the only place in the world that reflects the whole life of Lenin as a political figure and as a scholar. The Museum Trust own more than 70,000 items, which includes original items of the Ulyanov family themselves, documents, photographs and other exhibits relating to different periods of Russian history, particularly involving Vladimir Ilyich Lenin. This sign outside the museum says that the concert hall, the museum complex and visitor centre are open, but I tried to go in and it's actually closed. Behind the museum is this, a house where Vladimir Lenin lived from 1870 to 1875. Remember, he was born in 1870, so this was really his first house. And outside of this building there is a statue of young Vladimir Lenin with his mother, Maria. The body of water behind me here is not a sea, although sometimes it looks like it. It's the river Volga. The decision to build a bridge across the Volga in Simbirsk was taken in the late 19th century. Construction was delayed several times due to fire and landslide, and only opened in 1916. And in honor of the 300th anniversary of the Romanov family dynasty, the bridge was called the Imperial Bridge. It's more than 200 kilometers long, and the height in the middle is 13.8 meters. This is Boulevard New Crown, a pedestrian street in the city centre which is often called the Ulyanovsk Arbat. It's located on the highest point of the Ulyanovsk mountains, overlooking the river and the Imperial Bridge and some of the urban areas of the city. On the site of this boulevard in ancient times, Bogdan Chytrova built the Kremlin here in Ulyanovsk, which was the first building in the city and stood until the late 18th century. This monument is the monument to the letter Y. It was erected in 2007, but the idea about creating it appeared in 2005, when the historians of this city stage a festival dedicated to the 200th anniversary of the letter Y. The project was designed and prepared by a local artist called Alexander Zinin, and it's here, a very unique monument. Simbirsk was one of the first Russian cities where secondary education was introduced for children. And behind me here in this building is a museum. That is a former grammar school building built by the famous architect Toscani, which is now dedicated as a museum to education. Ulyanovsk is the centre of airplane manufacture in Russia, and it produces the majority of civilian and military aircraft. This here is the Aviation Museum and was opened in 1983. Its total area is 18 hectares and the exhibition consists of more than 4,000 different objects, most of which are originals. Among the most valuable may be the ANT-4, which was the world's first all-metal heavy bomber, the jet airliner Tu-104, and the supersonic airliner Tu-144. I'm inside a standard old Aeroflot aircraft, and you can see inside the cockpit over here and this outside the plane. Unlike many Russian cities, Ulyanovsk doesn't really have that many churches. What it does have is this one, the very yellow, colourful All Saints Church from 1996. And this one behind me here, really the main church in the city. Actually a brand new church from 2011, the Ascension Cathedral. First museum created in honor of Vladimir Lenin is this, located in this yellow house, which was once owned by his family in the late 19th century. The Ulyanov family lived in it for about 10 years, and in 1887, after the death and the execution of his brother, Alexander, the family sold the house and moved away from Simbirsk. In 1923, the building was made into a historical revolutionary Lenin museum, and 5 years later, in 1928, it was restored and converted into a memorial that accurately reflects the circumstances and conditions in which the family lived. One great thing about this street where the yellow Lenin house is is the fact that all the buildings here are so well preserved, well maintained, well painted, structurally sound. Lots of the buildings in Ulyanovsk are falling apart. I've been on streets which don't look so good, but this one is really a museum street in itself. Just look at how great these buildings are. And on Lenin Street, there's not only one house that the family lived in, not just that yellow house down there that were there for almost 10 years, but this one right behind me here, this grey blue house where they lived for 1 year. And if those two houses on one street weren't enough, there's also a third house where their family lived, this also for just 1 year. But wait, there's more. Lenin not only lived in two houses on this street, but also this one also just for 1 year.